Amazing. All right. Okay, so welcome everyone, and thank you for attending the first official onboarding session of Oplan Hope. I apologize if it took a bit long because, as you know, like for the last 2 weeks where Oplan Hope has existed, uh, we've been we've been trying to gather some resources and also time of people to organize. So the last 2 weeks has just been a haze. So for this specific day and presentation, the intent is only two things. The first one is to align with all of the committee members and the volunteers to what Oplan Hope is about. So the idea is for us to get to know why it exists, how we're going to move forward through our purpose, and what are the strategies and objectives in place to make sure that everything or all the outcomes that we have will be impactful in relation to our mission. So the second objective is, of course, to increase the level of engagement of our volunteers because sayang naman yung initiative, effort, and also the volunteerism of people who have filled out the forms and wanted to be part of the committees if not all of us will have our fair share of good experience as part of this movement. So those are the two main objectives. I have a third objective, which is actually to test my webinar skills using Zoom. Because as you know, and as you've probably seen in the some of the announcement in PSTD Facebook page, uh, we've been we've been lining up a good number of free webinars from various international and local thought leader organizations. And partly, we need to also build capability to moderate webinars. So this is one of those on-the-job training webinar technology stuff. So basically those are the three main objectives. And again, just like what I mentioned a while ago, all of you are in mute. And then please feel free to just chat your questions in the chat box or in the Q&A portion. Now let me move forward about Oplan Hope. So Oplan Hope stands for Hang On People Enablers. So it's under PSTD, or Philippine Society for Talent Development. Okay. So the main purpose of Oplan Hope is help now, gain later. And you will see later that we will start repeating this concept of yin yang because the reason why Oplan Hope exists is number one, and and in all transparency, we want, of course, the organization of PSTD to survive. As you know, it's like all of us are having a tough time in this crisis. It's taking a huge economic hit on businesses, on individuals, and also socially and emotionally, it has taken a toll on people. So, in order for us to have PSTD as an organization be able to cope with it, the we formed a task force called Oplan Hope. So the task force has two main purposes: to be able to help the community, the Philippine learning community, during a time of high need, which is now, and at the same time, be able to gain later from what is happening. As you know, PSTD is a non-profit organization, so currently we are not getting also any influx of revenue, and we are spending money because we are operating still day on day through our fixed cost and labor cost through our secretariat. And we of course are very happy to do that because the reason why PSTD exists is not really to amass a huge amount of money for us to benefit the organization lang. The idea behind PSTDs is supposed to be able to give back to the community, give back to its talents, give back to the people who are enabling more people in the industries, trying to increase capacity building of various companies, whether they're private organizations or non-profit organizations or government organizations. So in order for us to be able to support that, we need PSTD to survive. And for PSTD to survive, we put together a task force called Oplan Hope. which is comprised of 5 committees. So we have the research committee, the program committee, the e-learning technology committee, the marketing committee, and the membership committee. So I will discuss a bit later what's the idea behind what are the ideas behind those committees and the concepts why they were selected to form part of the task force. So help now, gain later. Why help now? So help now because apart from the fact that it's just good taste to help people during time of need, the other logic behind that is we want to make people feel the relevance of PSTD during a time that everyone else is vulnerable. As you know, the way cultures are formed is through shared learnings. So this crisis that we're having right now, this is forced culture. This we're being forced to change the way we live our lives. We're being forced to learn things so that we can cope and we can adjust. So the idea behind PSTD helping out is number one, of course, it's true to its purpose. It wants to be able to help the Philippine learning community based on the competencies that we have in terms of talent development. But secondly is if we as an organization are able to help individuals and other organizations during a time of crisis or a time of high need, a time of vulnerability, um, we will likely be embedded in the culture of those organizations and individuals because we are going to become part of their learning. And we think that that's one of the best ways to establish brand. So, and this is the reason why a lot of other organizations are doing the same thing. So, Coca-Cola has given up its marketing budget to be able to supply um, um, aid and support for individuals who need it during this time. For example, Louis Vuitton has converted their manufacturing plants of perfume into um, alcohol production, right? Even even Ford has also done the same thing by changing their resource flow from supporting manufacturing to supporting those people who cannot afford to pay for their car loans. So they started to redirect their resources to help those people who cannot pay their dues. So in this way, if we're able to help the community during this time of need, we will likely be better remembered when the need has finished. And it's because of cultural integration through the shared learnings. So that's the strategy that we are looking at for brand awareness. The other strategy that we're looking at, of course, is product development. We're not just going to, okay, no questions yet. Okay. So we're not just going to um, build our brand and get as high a reach as we can through our social media channels or get as many leads. We're also going to try to develop a solution for our community so that when the time comes that the market will open, then people will buy that solution when the money is ready. Um, so if we don't do that now and we only do that during the time when the crisis is over, sayang yung oras. So if we're already trying to build some of the solutions now, tapos when the market opens, we're ready and the product is ready and people are willing to spend, then the survival of PSTD will be more assured because then we will have more funds to be able to sustain our operations and our programs because there's again a new batch of money coming in from future programs that we will be able to create through the product development strategy. So that's the balance. That's why it's a yin yang. We are going to exert our relevance through the brand awareness strategy by helping people out, and we're going to develop the products now that will be relevant for a future that is post COVID-19 so that we will have some money after the crisis is over. That's the philosophy behind this whole thing. Um, do you have any questions so far? So again, pardon me if like I'm not being as empathetic because this like technology is still a bit tricky for me, especially this one. So I'll give you some time to put some questions on the chat box based on this portion. Okay, so April, none so far. Anyone else? Baka lang you have questions about this. All good. All right, cool. Sure. So, sige. So, let me now go to the next slide. And I want to be more specific. Kasi sabi nga nila, like, people will understand the plan better and will feel more hopeful if there are more specific details to this plan. And this plan is composed of mainly two things. Number one are group objectives, and the second one is our group strategies. So you see the yin yang is still there. On the brand awareness side, on the left, these are our group objectives. We are looking at intensifying our marketing by increasing our social media reach, increasing our leads generation, which in the future hopefully will become sales conversion. As you know, the digital platform right now is one of the biggest sources of businesses. And if we increase our reach, and if we know how to convert based on formula right now in terms of marketing conversion from digital platforms, then it will give us better footing to be to raise revenue through the sales conversions that we will be able to make from that reach, from the social media reach or from the digital marketing reach. So that marketing part is going to be a big component of brand awareness. The second part of brand awareness is research through publications. So later on, I'll discuss to you more specifically what type of things we have in store for our people, for our community, as far as research output is concerned. The reason why this is also important is because this is part of course, thought leader strategy under brand awareness. The third one, the third objective on brand awareness is, of course, to increase our volunteer base, to increase our members base. As you know, most of us here are volunteers, and it's not very easy. I'm telling you that it's not very easy to handle volunteers because number one, they have their own lives to take care of. They have their own priorities. They have full-time work and priorities in terms of earning their own money. And for this one, they're not getting paid. So we have to capitalize on whatever time and energy we can from volunteers because they're really just doing this for, number one, for goodwill, and also number two, for self-development or for learning. But so given the limited energy and time, we want to be able to increase also the number of volunteers, especially more competent ones and more passionate ones, because the more volunteers we get and the more competence we get, then the more that energy will be less required for a lot of people kasi that will be distributed across different volunteers who will be able to pitch in. The other target for brand awareness, of course, is the increase in membership. This year, early this year, like when we made a strategy for PSTD, we talked about doubling the membership of PSTD. So double by 2020 vision. That's our vision for 2020. We're not going to give that up just because this crisis came in. It doesn't mean that we are starting to change the way we live our lives because of COVID-19. There isn't any way for us to increase our membership or double our membership. In fact, I think it's all the more necessary, mainly because the need for the community is up. So if we will be able to re-strategize and convert that interest and that energy towards higher membership after the crisis is over, that will be so amazing and great. Especially if we have a lot of volunteers and members that we are able to onboard during this time. So on the left side, you see that there are objectives on marketing, there's objective on research, there's objective on members. What are the strategies under those? So for now, these are some of the active strategies. The first one is, as you saw, the PSTD Learn from Home series. So these are the announcements that you've been receiving either via email or via Facebook page about free learning sessions from international, locally renowned speakers about certain topics, of course, related to L&D. The second one is something that we will launch very soon. Thank you for the membership committee. So this is PSTD TikTok. I'll discuss that later as part of the updates. The third one is these are now the state of the industry publications. And these are things that the research committee will put together to also help out our L&D practitioners or professionals to cope during this time of crisis. Diba? Sabi nga nila, knowledge is power. And if we will be able to organize knowledge based on the competence that we have to research, and Jose probably the research committee has the biggest number of volunteers, if not programs committee, then we will be able to capitalize on that capability and help people get the knowledge that they need in order for them to enable their organizations further, even during this time. So that's the help now strategy. We are helping people while we are amassing social media reach and also increasing our leads generation. Now, on the right side, this part is now the product development, or in other companies' perspective, this is usually R&D or product development team. So for the objectives of research and development, you have strategic needs analysis, which is, of course, doing TNAs or through surveys, and also best practice benchmarking, which I will also discuss in the next slide. The second one would be to create e-learning modules, self-paced and online webinar run that can be source of revenue for PSTD. And the third one, hindi po yan Granada. Sorry, ngayon ko lang nakita mo kang Granada pala siya. Yun po ay Globe na merong diploma. This is e-learning technology. This is being able to create the digital platform by which these e-learning modules will be able to run, right? So these are the objectives for the right side or product development. The strategies under that, which would be under gain later, would be number one, this is to create future needs training design. So as you can see, this task force is temporary. The task force will run within the life of the crisis, which will likely be between 3 to 6 months. And that temporary nature, of course, entails that the objectives will also be realistic in relation to that timeline. So the products that we're looking at creating are self-paced e-learning modules. So that's one product that are under 2 digital themes. So I'll discuss that also in a bit later. So that's one. And second one is we're also looking at actual webinar sessions from the existing programs that we already have that are part of the core capabilities of PSTD. So these are your master trainer related training courses, right? So those are what we call future needs training design. We are going to adjust them to what the market will need when this crisis is over. Or if this crisis will be too long, then we will adjust it to we will adjust it to the need to while this crisis is going on, but people will already be able to afford to buy some of our products. The second strategy under gain later is learner-centered LMS tendering. Ano ibig sabihin nun? We need to be able to identify what specific LMS or learning management systems will be suitable for PSTD, given all of these products and given its vision, by making sure that we have the right criteria in place in relation to our needs, right? So that's the second strategy for us. We need to have proper tendering on LMS, especially if we will get approval for this significant budget that we will need for LMS. Because as you know, LMS is not cheap. The third is best practices documentation. And this is where a lot of us will benefit along the way, because I'm sure not all of us have been part of organizations who are now starting to develop state-of-the-art training materials that are lodged in digital platforms. So being part of the task force right now, you will be accustomed to processes and see how exactly these types of materials are embedded in digital platforms. So those best practices will also be documented so that eventually they can form part of what we will share to the community either for free or for a price, depending on how PSTD will fare financially. So, that's the general overview of our group objectives and group strategies. Um, Before I open the floor again to questions, I'll go muna to the most specific ones. So these are the expected outcomes. So as you see, the previous slide, this is arranged based on objectives and strategies. Pero this slide is specifically based on committees. So you will see some of the samples and detail of what outputs we're looking at. So for example, in research and publications, um, sa strategic needs analysis, we're looking at publishing research reports in the form of combination of survey and literature review, which we've already finished. Tapos we're also looking at publications, yung mga best practices or infographics or captured materials that we will be able to get from the webinars that we will be watching or that we will be part of. We are going to share that, of course, to our members and to the community. So for example, the last one that we did with Gallup, we already received the draft of the captured material that we're looking to release to the public as tidbits of information and content. We are looking at continuing that process and that practice moving forward, since we have so many webinars to look forward to. We're also looking at state of the industry studies like Future of Talent. We're looking at 3 articles being released within the next 3 months, and some exploratory studies of e-learning best practices from different thought leader organizations in the country who's already doing e-learning. So since this will be shared naman to everyone, I suggest like the committee leads or even the volunteers themselves just review these specific objectives so that you will know like where to position yourselves when you're provided a task, or to also be able to reevaluate if you are really in the right committee in the first place. Kasi baka mamaya like we also cannot discount the fact that you may be able to help other committees better compared to the one that you're in right now, because we weren't able to provide you with detailed information on what everything was about yet. So if you think that there are other committees that you will learn better or be of better contribution, then please feel free to let your committee chairs know. Wag lang magalit yung committee chair sa akin na baka mamaya may crucial na member na lilipat sa iba, mga ganyan. So just talk amicably. So anyway, so going back, let me now open the floor to questions about group objectives and group strategies. Sige, I'll look at the chat. Like if there are some questions. Okay. Okay, April, question. Can one volunteer in 2 or more committees? Yes, definitely. Please feel free to do so. To be up to you how you're going to divide your time. We will be blessed to have these kind souls volunteering on 2 or more committees. Anything else? Any other questions? On objectives, on strategies, on what Oplan Hope is about? All good? All right. You didn't mention about how fast are we going to implement all of these? All right. Very good question, April. So there are specific time. The life of the task force is between 3 to 6 months, depending on how long this crisis will be. So that's the timeline that we're working on. The timetables by which these tasks will be implemented will be within the purview of your committee chairs. So we have meetings every Monday, and then we align on our timelines. So if you want to be able to get the specific timelines for your tasks or for your team's objectives, you consult with your chair and they'll be able to provide some of those timelines for you. So yeah, I hope I answered your question, April. I saw Freddie raising his hand. I don't know how to engage that. Their Q&A part, wala no? Okay. So Freddy, can you please type your question if you can hear me? Or I would like to clarify for membership. Okay. I would like to clarify for membership committee. The outcome will be after this ECQ percent of membership conversion. Oh yes, that's true. Actually, well, it's possible that you can start converting members now if you can. But again, of course, given what's happening and how economically less viable it is, then Roel is right. We are looking to push the conversion after the crisis so that we don't appear too insensitive to also the needs of the people who can't afford it just yet. Yeah. Okay, so Freddy, I was looking for the thumbs up. Okay, well, you got it. I'll count this as a thumbs up. Thank you very much. Okay, so if you don't have any more questions, I'll move further. So the next slide now will be about like what the committee, wait, there's another one. Okay, all good. Okay, cool. Thank you. Okay, so this one is how we look right now. So we have the different committees of the task force. That's the yin yang is still there because that's our heart. So that's brand awareness and product development. We will keep on um, powering through under these two strategies based on the group objectives that I mentioned a while ago. Now, what are of course, you see that there's 5 boxes outside. These are your committees under the task force. So the reason why they are the committees under the task force was because of the objectives that we were able to identify based on the research that we conducted 2 weeks ago. As you can see, even the PSTD operations cannot be on the same cannot be like on the same track as before. So based on what happened, we had to readjust our energy and our focus. And and for us to be a bit smart, we did some data gathering first before we did the adjustments. So we did a survey, we analyzed the survey, and that survey I will share with you in a bit later, at least on a high level approach. So that was how the committees were formed. Um, the committees now are of course supported by the secretariat, or right now we call them the professional team. So these are the full-time headcounts of PSTD who are doing everything that they can, even during this time of crisis, to make a lot of these things work, right? So they are our backbone because they are really the operational prowess by which PSTD is existing under. The Board of Trustees, as you know, are your elected officials. So the Board of Trustees pretty much like function as your Congress or your Senate, wherein when the Secretariat with the task force makes a certain decision or makes a certain program, if it will entail budget, especially significant budget, then we will have to get the approval of Board of Trustees. Now, the reason why the setup is like this right now compared to before, wherein the Board of Trustees have a direct hand on programs, is because we want, of course, actions to be swifter because needs have to be addressed more quickly. So the task force main job is to manufacture programs the quickest way possible so that we can get the approval from the Board of Trustees on the budget required for those programs to move immediately. Because we cannot really waste time based on this type of circumstances. Okay, so this is the general setup for PSTD with the task force, with the secretariat, with the Board of Trustees. And of course, the outer part of that would be the Philippine Learning Community. All right, okay. So now on to the updates. Yan. So let me share with you now some of the developments or accomplishments that Oplan Hope has accomplished within the last 2.5 weeks of its existence. The first one is, so through the research team headed by Jose de Colongon, Oplan Hope was able to generate a research report that's a combination of survey analysis, that survey that people responded to 2 weeks ago, we were able to get around 100 respondents from that survey, which is a good number, um, considering everything that's happening. Um, the second component of that research report are literature reviews of best practices of training organizations currently, especially the thought leader training organizations. So let me first go on with the survey analysis. So in survey analysis, if you see the demographics above, it's a good mix of practitioners, no? And majority of those are, as you can see, HR heads slash managers, L&D heads slash L&D managers, directors, talent development heads, talent development managers. So majority of the people who answered the survey are decision makers. All right, so that's a good sign. So on the right side naman, you will be able to see the different industries by which this survey was clustered in. So majority of the people who answered are from BPO, management consulting, education, financial services, and then we have 9% from government, which is also nice because it's sometimes the demographics being neglected. So we have 9% from this run, and I think that's thanks to Secretariat, the professional team, for actually pushing for data gathering to happen. So yun. So medyo maganda yung demographics natin. On a level of thematic analysis naman, dun sa training needs, marami yung questions. I'm sure you know, but some of you answered. But on the level of training needs, dun sa lower portion, you see that these are the four things that people found important to learn about within this time of crisis and even thereafter. So the top ones are like the highest cluster one would be management courses. The management courses are divided into categories like HR related management courses, um, process improvement management courses, generic management courses. So like for example, your supervision training or management training, etc. And then we also sometimes get management training requests on what's that? Organizational development, right? So those are the compositions of that management bit. The leadership part, the leadership part, majority of that is generic leadership, and I think that's reflective of people like being frustrated with the way leaders, whether or not they're from government or from private institutions, with the way how leaders are dealing with the crisis. So mataas din yung responses about leadership. But in terms of distribution, some of it actually came. Some of the people actually answered coaching and mentoring as part of that leadership subcategory. So if you're going to look at this pie, around 8%, playing between 8% to 9% is in coaching and mentoring, which is apparent across all of the three items about training needs. And then the other ones are digital literacy and self-development. So ano yung self-development? These are like basic courses on customer service, basic courses on personality development, basic courses on communication. Tapos sa digital literacy naman, ang mga lumabas na mga courses are top ito, Excel. And then the other ones would be like how to utilize digital platforms based on learning processes. The others that came out is how to optimize technology in general during this time of when everyone is being forced to work from home. So yun yung part ng digital literacy. And I see your questions. I'm just gonna finish this last leg. And because of the combination of the survey analysis and also the literature review, on your right you see like a circle with three categories. So these three categories are the themes and the topics that have been that was the recommendation of the research report that people need within this time. So number one is how to digitize learning. Number two is the roles leaders / managers play during times of crisis. And the third one is how do we support teams during COVID-19 crisis. So all of these are actually data driven. And we're very happy that right now, when we're doing our strategies and actions, I think one of the reasons why people are also receptive to the movement is because the data that we got or the research that we got lent some empathy to what the community actually needs. Now, let me not like put this so much into high regard, because we know that there are also some survival needs right now of our learning and development practitioners. Some of them have lost jobs because trainings have been postponed, like especially our consultants. Some of them are having trouble right now thinking of whether or not their job will be secured in the first place, because the first thing that companies cut apart from marketing the first things that companies cut during times of recession is usually human resource budget, and training is one of those. So we are preparing a different set of questions for those moving forward. So for this one, we initially thought about strategic needs first in terms of learning themes and learning and development topics and categories. Okay, so that's the development or the progress that we had for research. So right now I'm gonna look at the questions again. Rose, can you share to the team the components under others? Okay, so under others, medyo scattered talaga siya. Like, ibig sabihin, ito yung mga almost themeless. So for instance, there are people who answered safety, basic safety, and health. So that's one. The other thing that came out in others was um, like, for example, compliance trainings on government regulations that are being passed around based on COVID-19 crisis, like mga regulatory requirements, things like that. So those are some of the things that are seen. The others are really like outlier trainings that we cannot cluster so much that we don't know if they are just there because they were isolated. Like, for example, there were technical trainings coming out from aviation, technical trainings coming out from manufacturing. So we just put them under others because there wasn't a lot of responses from them. So yeah, so I hope, Rose, I answered your question. If you need more survey respondents from the government, I can connect you with people from the civil. Oh my God, yes. Yes, Moon, we need more respondents from the government, and we will be glad to I'll take your offer on this. And it's great that you're under Jose, under research. So this is duly noted. April, what was the question we asked again to get the data? So for the training needs, there are 3 questions that was asked. So the first one was, what are the training topics or training programs that your organization will need or will run in the next 3 or 4 months? That's the first one. The second one is what webinar sessions are you interested? Will you be interested in to pay for? What webinar sessions will you pay for? So that's the other one. The third one is, what webinar sessions would you like to know about, to learn from for free? So those are the 3 needs that we looked at as far as training needs are concerned. I just find it a little weird that they need Excel and personality development, and that was why I was wondering what was our questions. Yeah, actually I was a bit surprised too, but I guess it's because Excel is one of those basic tools that people would need to have, like, in general. And apparently, I think my theory is a lot of people are still not equipped with Excel. So when the technology hit, and then those people who already know Excel would want everyone to adjust to Excel, and some of them cannot cope, I think that's where the need started to arise. I don't think it's exactly just Excel. Um, Gusto ko yung ano ni Moon. I'd like to be friends with Excel but doesn't want to be friendly. Exactly, that's exactly the point. And I think it's not just Excel. I think it's technology in general. You know, the way people would have to adjust the technology um, in using it based on the output that they need to produce. Um, so that's why we put it in digital literacy as a whole and not just in Excel. Because the other responses naman were how to use different tools, how to use different digital tools in order to enable better learning. So there. So I hope I answered your question, April. I try. I've just assumed because based on like the responses. Have we offered a session regarding BCP before? No. If my memory serves me right, we haven't offered sessions regarding BCP. Um, we can consider, but one of the things that's like in my mind right now is it even within our core competencies? Kasi baka mamaya like if we offer BCP training and then it's not within our core, we might start to lose credibility because it's not our thing. The second one is maybe if we are going to offer BCP, it should be in line with learning and development, which is our core, so that they are a bit relatable. So yeah. So but we're taking note, Rose has. There are some items kasi that came out in the TNA that's BCP related. So they're there. So we will tap them as we deem necessary as we move forward. Leon, Excel is just a representation of a need to deal with data and make sense of it. That's true. And that's and it's the nearest thing that people can probably say as a reliable tool. So that's the first thing that they verbalize. Hi, April. I'm glad to see you are here and find out that you're part of Oplan Hope. Okay, cool. Thanks, June. All right. So if there's no more questions here, I'll move ahead. Okay. So this is the other update. So the PSTD Learn from Home series is one of the main programs that we're running. Though these are a series of free live webinars aimed at helping the Philippine learning community during this time of crisis by sharing best practices from leading international and local organizations. So that's the heart of Learn from Home. Right now, we've already had around 1,600 plus total registered attendees ever since we started from Gallup. Gallup alone was able to generate around 700 registered attendees. And the recent webinar trainings that we advertised, on the average, they are around 230 to 250 registered na. And it's Holy Week. So it's Holy Week pa. So we are, and since people like to register late, we are hoping and we are actually looking forward to more registrations sometime Monday, you know, because Tuesday na yung first run. So if you look at the 1,600, we are actually hitting a good number because this is a combined efforts of programs, it's a combined efforts of research, it's combined efforts of membership and marketing, and even e-learning technology. In terms of generating leads and awareness, if you see our Facebook page, it's already increasing in terms of likes. So before nasa 11,000 something lang siya. And I think right now it's now going 12,000, which is a good sign. And very nice marketing initiatives. And you see also in the Facebook page na there are more posts right now about like certain quotations that will help people. And you see also a lot of content about announcements of these free webinars. So that's all part of the marketing and the brand awareness strategy. So this 1,600 is a good leads base for PSTD moving forward. It's not all unique 1,600 names and contact details. I wish it were. But even if it's only 10%, 160 names, tama ba? 160, tama. If it's just 10%, 160 names and contacts is still a big help to the organization, right? We have 16 volunteer speakers from international and local thought leading organizations, and we have 3 research-based themes. So kung nakikita nyo yung theme 1, theme 2, and theme 3, these are the themes that came out based on the research that was done by the research committee. And for the next 3 weeks, so far, we are safe because a lot of our speakers have already confirmed within that period. Okay. Questions. Hi to other attendees. Drop down all panelists and tell us for chat so we can all see the questions and other comments. Okay. Did I do that right? I don't know. Sorry. Pasensya ka na, April. I'm still trying to make up pa. Anyway, so yon. So that's what PSTD Learn from Home series is. And this is one of our programs that's now getting a lot of attention, a lot of awareness. It has reached some friends of mine that I didn't even know was active in Facebook. That's how much people it has reached so far. So it's looking good, and I hope that through this committee we can also spread, the joy and the learning through the PSTD Learn from Home series. Okay. So, okay, the next one is e-learning. Ito na yung strategy ng e-learning technology. So I just want to share with you that the e-learning technology team under Marby has created this type of strategy so that we will be able to evaluate so that we have a criteria by which our LMS will be assessed. Kasi the LMS that we are going to choose will be the heart of the e-learning strategy. Actually, no, it's not the heart. It's going to be the soul because it's going to carry the e-learning modules. The heart will obviously be the programs and the modules that will be created by the programs committee. And let me now go there. So this is the accomplishment of e-learning techno. So the programs committee, they've now structured this way. So they now have a team for storyboarding kasi nga ang goal is to be able to create those 2 self-paced e-learning programs and also to be able to run via webinar paid sessions of our existing master trainer related courses or our fundamental courses. So the teams now of programs have been clustered to storyboarding kasi e-learning yung pinaka-output nila. E-learning design yung pinaka-output nila. They also have course mapping and outlining, and also they have the e-learning content review. So ang finished product nitong committee natin under programs is to come up with the design that will be embedded to the e-learning platform, right? So yun yung pinaka-output nila. And as you can see, they now have a workflow and action plan for it based dito sa action plan and timetable that you see on the lower right. Now, ano yung sasalo after programs committee? Sasaluhin sila ng e-learning technology under Marby's committee. Kasi the e-learning technology will not just be in charge of the LMS. They will also be in charge of the actual development of the material into the e-learning platform. What's the difference? The difference is e-learning design or the content design is under programs. The e-learning design would be pretty much the theories, the content of the material that will have to be translated into e-learning, self-paced e-learning. Yun yung design, right? So majority of the content are in that design. The development would be how exactly it will look when you put it on the e-learning platform. So that development is under Marby's group. Ano yung tasks under development? Of course, they will be like, ito na yung mga, pag mag-hire tayo ng mga graphic design people and like graphic design learning curators who will start to embed the content that the program committee has done using tools like the Articulate Storyline or whatever tools that they will use to come up with that self-paced e-learning module that will be embedded in our LMS or in our digital platform. Okay? So, yun yung saluhan ng programs and also e-learning technology. For June and Marby, if I'm screwing this up, please just send me a chat or message so that I can clarify. That's basically how I understand how the turnover will go. Okay, so that's what the programs committee is doing. Okay, so this is another program that we are going to launch very, very soon. It's called PSTD TikTok. Right. And so this was initiated by our very active and very vibrant membership committee led by Roal. So the PSDD TikTok is basically, ang rationale niya is, in a world where stress levels are high, sometimes all it takes is for someone to ask, kamusta ka? What problem are we trying to solve here? The problem that we're trying to solve here is the, you know, the way people are coping during this time of crisis. Sabi ko nga kanina, this is forced culture change. And a lot of it is affecting people negatively even if they are safe in their homes. Mas kawawa, of course, yung mga hindi safe in their homes and are trying to survive based on their day-to-day food or basic survival needs. Pero even the people who are surviving in their homes and have food, they are also significantly emotionally and socially affected by this virus because of the ECQ. So, in a world where stress levels are high, sometimes all it takes is for someone to ask, kamusta ka? So, TikTok is an avenue where PSTD seasoned talent development practitioners will offer 15 to 20-minute online kamustahan sessions among the members of the Philippine Learning Committee. So, just to clarify, we are not offering like professional psychiatric or psychological services here. Okay? Basically, what we're offering are just, kamustahan sessions or people, ears or hearts that could listen to people who just need to talk. Um, the, it so the only thing that we're trying to do is we are trying to recruit or research um, recruit people who are capable of handling listening to people who have problems better than others. So the lineup that we are looking at here are life coaches, mentors, or counselors who would be willing to volunteer some of their time for people who need an ear and a heart to listen. Okay? So again, we're not offering their professional services. We are trying to under promise but over commit or over deliver, right? So that's basically the idea behind PSTD TikTok. Questions. Yay, ang galing niyan. Magaling talaga yan kasi program niya yan. Our president explained the e-learning workflow task distribution correctly. Thank you very much, June. It's like, are you okay, Dai? Checking in with people. Nice initiative. Thank you, Lorraine. Yes, exactly. It's, tama ba? Are you okay, Dai? Or are you okay, Day? Sorry. Pero the concept is the same. Yes. I believe this TikTok is healthy to one's psychological health. Yes, I also believe so. Right. So yon. So TikTok is going to be launched very soon. We're just waiting for comments of some of the members of the task force. But once the guidelines are set and agreed on, it will be launched to recruit for volunteers. Right. So thank you very much, membership committee. I think this is really stellar idea. I believe this TikTok is healthy. Okay. Moon through same context, like how are you? Okay. Yes. Thanks. All right. My last update is, because we want agility, organization, and transparency, we are introducing a tool that was recommended to us by one of our IT experts who is also in the hall. Thank God, Leon. Don't worry, Leon. I will not like ambush you for a briefing session about MS Teams. I can try to share with you my screen and see how it works. But basically, the goal is to migrate everyone who are volunteers to MS Teams. Let me show you what MS Teams looks like. Kasi sabi ko, we want organization, we want agility, we want transparency. So we want a collab tool that will enable us to work faster, collaborate faster, make faster decisions, and be transparent with everything that we're doing. So this is how it looks like. So MS Teams, as you can see, Oplan Hope, meron niyang general na channel. So the general channel, you will be able to see here everyone's chat or everyone's update, everyone's contribution. So I type something, hello, Rose. Ayan. So everyone will see that, right? Everyone will see that who's a member of Oplan Hope. Okay? And then there are different channels. So there's e-learning channel, there e-learning technology, there's marketing, membership programs, and research. So these are the committees. So they can have their own discussions within their own channels. Ano yung benefit nito? The benefit nito is it's easier to make decisions and it's easier to collaborate because of tools. So like for example, I want to show you our subcommittee for Learn from Home. So for Learn from Home, we started to discuss na kasi it's threads based eh. So you can just reply into the threads that are relevant tapos you can just search it very comfortably para makita mo yung thread where that discussion is. So that's one benefit. One benefit, it's threads based. The other benefit is there are a lot of tools. So like for example, you can attach files. But I discourage you to attach files because while it's free, may limit dun sa file capacity. So instead of attaching files, my suggestion to you is to use your Google Drive. So like for example, in this thread, I used Google Drive to as a link, you know, as a link para makita yung para ma-share yung file ko, yung Google slide ko. So for example, ito, the Learn from Home planning deck. I shared it here and it's also shown as a tab here above where the arrow is. So pag click ko yung Learn from Home planning deck, it will bring me to that tab above and it shows me the specific deck directly lifted from Google Slides. So it's real time. So you can even revise it here if you want. So you can immediately look at it here. So ang bilis mag-share even if it's just a link with your Google Slides. So kami ngayon as a subcommittee, not only are we using this slide as a collab tool kasi we can update simultaneously, we are also updating ourselves in the post portion of MS Teams, right? And there are a lot of other apps that you can attach. So for example, here in general, kasi there's a polling app eh. So there's a polling app here and as you can see, for example, here I sampled. The polling app is called Polly. So the polling app, magtanong ka lang doon sa lahat ng members doon sa, for example, sa general, and you will be able to see the results immediately through the polling app. So ito yun, no? What's your favorite home-cooked meal during ECQ? Submit, vote, etc. Talabas na kaagad yung result very, very quickly. So if you want to make decisions, ang bilis. Ang bilis magawa ng decisions through this collab tool. You can also do video calls as a group here. So you can just click this button, Meet Now, in the channel that you want. Or you can, kung ayaw mo namang i-involve lahat ng mga tao, pwede ka naman maggawa ng direct chat or group chat, just like here. So yan o. So for example, Leon, Marby, and I had a group chat. We can still use the group call function here. Right here above. So yun. So that's another function. The other function is, for example, Trello. If you want to use that tool, yung project management tool, you can use it here. You know, like for example, itong Trello. I can see some of my tasks here. Of course, these are not Oplan Hope tasks, but you know, it helps. Okay. But ayaw na niya matanggal. Okay, there. So yun. So basically, the reason why we're trying to convince everyone to be on board is because it's easy to communicate once everyone is here. Secondly, it's easy to make announcements, you know, just in the general panel. Tapos everyone will see the update already instead of like emailing one another and trying to add and subtract people in the thread. Ito, the threads are already organized. The other thing here is it separates you a bit from social media because I know a lot of us are using social media as a collab tool, but sometimes the line between where we want to go in social media and the official tasks can be very thin. So if everything is here in this collab tool, then it forces us to just stay here and stick here as far as our discussions are concerned, and everything becomes official. So, and it's free too. So all you have to do is just to log in and then make an account and you can already be part of this MS Teams. Basta wag lang tayong magse-save ng file directly inside because nga we will have to, there's a memory capacity to the files being saved. I can't answer all of the, sorry, I don't know everything about the teams just yet, mainly because It was also introduced to me. But so far, based on how I'm playing with it, it's very exciting. And if we want to lead as a group in terms of agility and organization and also transparency, which we all naman, of course, would like to have, I think collab tool is very essential, because not only is well, not a lot of people are actually on board using it. So if we're using it first and compared to everyone else, then we will make more decisions quicker, and we are also more engaged. And since this is not just a project but actually a community or a movement, we can start that movement here, right? We can start that discussion or that community and movement through this group. And you can only imagine how big it will grow after a few months or a few years. So some comments I'm gonna read na about MS Teams. Okay. Oh, testimonials. Very nice. Yeah, using MS Teams then at work, and we all use it for online meetings. Very cool platform for collaboration. Nice. Thank you, Nomi. Rose, MS Teams is helpful, especially if you are using Microsoft email. Back then, when I was still in IntelliCare, we used this as a platform for sharing the plans and also to host new updates. Great. Thanks, Rose. Do you have to have a Microsoft account first to be able to use MS Teams, or does it function like any other app that you can sign in with a Google account? You have to come up, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Leon, but I think you need to come up with you need to make a Microsoft account, but it's very easy because you can use your Google account to make that, you can use your Google account to enter through the Microsoft login. Sorry, by creating Microsoft account. Let me clarify. You need a Microsoft account kasi MS Teams requires that. But you can use your Google account to be able to create that Microsoft account. Right? So you can, and it's quite easy to make as well. Not too many questions. So Moon, I hope I answered your question. Nomi, I was able to sign in using Google. Ayun na pala, dal-dal ko, di ba? Yun na pala yung sagot. Okay. You can use your Google Mail. Okay, cool. Tama. Yun na pala. Yes, you need to, okay. Sign in na ako using my MS account. Okay. I use Google Mail account as Research Oplan Hope Group. Yes, perfect. Cool. All right. So there, thank you so much for the responses on this specific slide on MS Teams. So I hope, especially the committee leads, I hope you can encourage your people to migrate to MS Teams, because it's really going to be beneficial to all of us. And for the volunteers, if your chairs are too busy, I can give you a link through this chat group about, saan ko ba makikita yun? Like, wait lang. There's a shareable link here. Get link to the team. Ayun. Copy. So here, this is the link. You just click that and it will bring you to this group, to the MS Teams Oplan Hope group. And then we can admit you immediately. Otherwise, let me know and then I will invite you manually if you really can't use that link to get in. Okay, so again, my calling is for the committee leads to please encourage your people to migrate to MS Teams, because that's really going to be helpful to all of us, agility-wise, organization-wise, and transparency-wise. Program comms will start to learn and use MS Teams. Thank you, June. You have the most population. This will be very interesting to have in MS Teams. Okay. All right. So if no more questions, MS Teams, this is my last slide. Okay, what now? For committee leads, this is a good opportunity to organize roles, assign tasks based on objectives, strategies, and timelines if you don't have some of these yet. So please use the time to do this. B, if you're not yet utilizing some of the volunteers, please help them assess what else they can do within your committee or in other committees. Kasi sayang, they've already volunteered eh. I mean, I'm sure there's that drive somewhere to be able to help. So if hindi siya ma-utilize under your team because the competencies don't fit or the motivations don't fit, please feel free to recommend them to other teams that will be able to help out. If not the other teams, you can recommend them to me. I'd be glad to come up with another subcommittee for anyone just to organize some tasks and get some things going. just like what we're doing right now for the Learn from Home series group or subcommittee. For volunteers, please reassess if you are in the right committee, or just like what April said, if you just want one committee, because we will be glad to have you in multiple committees if your time and passion permits. Anyway, this is really going to be a big help to PSTD, to the community, and also to you as a learner, because this is free hands-on experience to a certain movement that's now growing so fast and significantly in relation to its vision to help the Philippine learning community. Um, B, invite other volunteers who you think will fit the competence requirement and direction of Oplan Hope. Kahit nga wala yung competence requirement, kahit sobrang passionate lang at willing to learn, susubukan natin silang i-accommodate. Kasi nga, we want to be able to help as many people as we can. If they think that this is their way to have something outside their companies to like a stretch project to learn from, being part of this type of program, and if it will help them out because they need to develop certain skills that are aligned to the objectives and the strategies of those committees, by all means, please refer them. Of course, hope they're like, assets instead of liabilities, but we'll see. For the secretariat or the professional team who are here, feel free to engage and align and learn from the initiatives within the task force, because there are a lot of those items that will benefit PSTD more sustainably in the long run. And we know naman that like all of these things that we're trying to learn within this crisis period, a lot of these, if we're able to translate this into systems and processes that could benefit PSTD, apart from the products that we'll be able to create from it, sobrang ganda ng magagawa natin in the next few years to come. So there you go. The lecture is over. I hope it fosters deeper sense of alignment and engagement for people who initially didn't have that big an idea about what Oplan Hope is. Again, we're here to help now and then gain later, so that we can empower PSCB as an organization, to help the community based on the programs that it has. Let me now take some questions from you guys, if there's any. Hi, John. Membership committee. I've posted a poll in our Viber group. Okay. Second, Lorraine. Hi, John. Pwede pa-add ako sa research group. I haven't joined it yet. I'm not aware that there's a separate MS Team thread for each committee. Sure. I'll add you after this call. Hi, John. Same for me. I'm still not part of the research group. Okay, Rose. I will also add you. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Oplan Hope, for the opportunity to help. Thank you, everyone. Perfect. Thank you, John. Wonderful presentation. Cool. Any other questions? And well, thank you guys for attending. It's Black Saturday. It's a holiday, and people should be, contemplating, meditating, spending time with family. But you're here right now, and that just shows how much passion you have for whatever output we're supposed to attain based on Oplan Hope. So I'll save this presentation because it's being recorded, and then I'll share the link to the MS teams and also to your committee chairs, so that for new members who intend to join us, they will also have something to watch and read, and onboard them with, so that it's more specific, it's more interactive. All right, cool. So if no more questions, thank you guys so much. Have a great day and hope to see you in MS Teams. All right, you enjoy the rest of the Holy Week, and happy advanced Easter tomorrow.